My name is Bishop Christopher Coyne, and through these liturgical blinks I hope to be able to answer some of the questions that people have posed to me about the Church's liturgy. And today's question is a rather interesting one, and one that especially daily Mass goers would be ought to ask. You know, there were times when I'd attend daily Mass or just would concelebrate, and I'd often wonder that same question myself. I'd say, well, I wonder why this guy chose this Mass and not that Mass. In particular because there is a calendar of hierarchy within the Church in terms of its hierarchical order of days, that there are certain days that you have to celebrate and you don't have the option of not celebrating them. The first, of course, is the solemnities, the major feast days of the Church, the Sundays of the Church, and then there's the weekdays of particular seasons like Lent and Easter and Christmas and Advent that take a priority of practice and of celebration. But in addition to that, we have the celebration of the saints' days, most especially the memorials of the saints and feast days. So a feast day of the Church supersedes a memorial, which supersedes what's called an optional memorial. So how does this work? When the priest comes in to look at the celebration of the day, he has to look at the calendar and get a sense of what the Church is telling him is to be the celebration of the day. So if there's no solemnity, if there's no feast, if there's no memorial of the day, if there's even no optional memorial of the day, he's free at times to be able to choose particular Masses that he thinks will be of service to his community. That's made very clear in the Church's rituals, that he just can't out of whim say, well, I want to celebrate this feast day or this Mass. He really is supposed to do so in a way that he thinks is going to be helpful to his community and not just his personal piety. Now, the memorial of the saints is the Church is in a sense designated certain saints as more worthy of the Church's universal celebration. So you would have, for example, the memorial of St. Ignatius of Antioch, which really supersedes any other celebration that day in most cases. So the priest would have to celebrate the memorial of St. Ignatius of Antioch and wear the red because he's a martyr. But on other days you have what's called optional saints, saints that are, the celebration is not as ancient, the cult of the saint is not as worldwide, whatever it may be. Just recently, for example, we had two saint celebrations on the same day, St. Margaret Mary and St. Hedwig, I think. And the priest had the option, because they were optional memorials, of choosing to do one or the other or neither one if there was some reason or need pastorally for them to do something else. So to answer the question is, it's normally following a calendar that the priest chooses what Mass is to be done on that day. But then if there's no particular saint that's required on that day, he has all kinds of other options, and he's supposed to do it and use these options for the good of the community and not just under personal piety. One hopes that's the case. One also knows through human nature sometimes it's not. So when you're in your parish and you get a little confused because you're trying to find the right text in your book during the celebration of the Mass, you might just offer it up to God and say, whatever it may be, Lord, in this celebration of the Mass, allow me to do so worthily for my good and for the good of your entire Church. My name is Bishop Christopher Coyne.